back to the desk of the WGLNA League North America and to our final match of the evening, Refuse to Die versus the Cazadores. You know, these are two teams that I'm really beginning to enjoy following. Cazadores was exciting all through their qualifier run and have continued to be very exciting in their matches thus far. Now they find themselves in a situation where they kind of need to win.
Yep, actually both teams, Ben. This is the only match tonight that we cast where both teams have lost their first match. We had a couple of matches where one team won and one team lost. We had one game where both teams won their first game. Both Refuse to Die and Cazadores lost their first match, even though both of them lost barely. I believe 2-3 goes for either team, unless I'm mistaken. But
well, Cazadores was in deep overtime.
Yeah, and actually Refuse to Die lost 2-3 against River of Blood in their first match. So, you know, close losses.
Like, no.
Everyone go hill.
Cazadores moving towards the hill this time, changing it up, not wanting to be too one-dimensional, showing us that they have more in their bag of tricks than just one direction.
Well, let's take a look at the tank selection real quick before shots are going to get fired. We see 3 AMX 5100s on both sides. Then we see a full IS-3 lineup for the Cazadores, and we see a KV-5 making its first appearance of the day for Refuse to Die. Randall, take us away. KV-5.
Good tank and a solid choice for a tank on Himmelsdorf. This, Himmelsdorf, Ensk, Ruinberg, all very viable places to bring a KV-5, and if they can use him properly, he will be a boon to his team.
You know, I used to really like seeing KV-5s in competitive play, and then I learned that they're really just big, giant targets.
Yeah, that's the point. You want someone to soak up the damage, because someone's going to get shot anyway, right?
Sure.
Better to get shot than the guy with a huge armor.
I really don't feel that the KV-5 brings much to the battle that you know, the IS-3 doesn't.
It's a lot higher.
It's higher. It's a bigger target. It's a more obvious target. Sometimes it feels like it's hard to pin a KV-5, but really, when you learn the weak spots, it's just begging to be blown up.
Oh, I believe that the T1. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I believe that Quasiar got a big scout off. He's oh, he actually dodges a shot there as well. It is Fatigetti that's missing a shot in his AMX 5100. That's annoying for him as well. Does he want to reload or not? Look at this T1. He's like,
get me out of here! Kufo's going to give chase, and he ain't going to miss. Team El Capitan is all about delivering on those shots. You know, I like the way Cazadores play that. We saw that situation in a previous match tonight, and teams stalled out and stopped. Cazadores is all about go. So too is Refuse to Die. Look at this push through the alley.
There are still 2 IS-3s at the flag, though, so this is going to be so interesting. Now we're going to have the AMX 5100s retreating towards the flag, and we still got 2 IS-3s guarding the red flag as well over here in the name of Logos and SES.
Yeah, a very interesting development here. The autoloaders from the hill are coming back. Those IS-3s have finally been spotted. They're going to go ahead and take out the other Refuse to Die scout.
Yep, Stringley gets picked up as well, so that means no more eyes other than the big guys.
That's exactly right. There we see the team Refuse to Die being very aggressive, but ultimately not willing to commit to the push as they've lost their vision. They don't really know where their opponents are. Cazadores have the luxury of that T1 scout spotting, and look at this great spot right down the alley. Sees all 3 of those heavy tanks. Cazadores knows exactly where their opponents are, and they will now be able to mobilize to attempt to punish them.
I mean, talking about tanks complementing each other, so far they only roll in squads with the same tanks. The AMXs are sticking together, and the 2 IS-3s are sticking together as well. Why do you think that is, Randall?
They don't want to get split up and taken apart. They want to start the engagement together so they can focus down someone. And with this KV-5 with huge health, I mean, the whole point is just to win in the brawl. That's generally what happens in Himmelsdorf. I mean, if you have a very spread out fight, it's unpredictable.
T1 Cunningham still doing work on the other side of the map, has managed to get in range of the Refuse to Die flag, and has once again managed a great spot. This is some phenomenal scout play out of Nopazana, who has realized exactly where Refuse to Die is, has not put himself in a bad position, is not getting blown up, and is still spotting oh so well for his team. Cazadores once again repositioning, trying to get into that position to punish some Refuse to Die movement. I'm very impressed with this T1 scout play.
Yeah, this is awesome, actually. He's predicting perfectly where they're going, and he's there to spot them when they get there, and then he just runs away again.
Interesting to mention as well that the IS-3s have started moving. They're almost at the tracks right now. The MX-5100s are actually going back to the flag though. So in a moment I thought that perhaps the entire team was starting to look to get a little more offensive. That didn't look like it just yet, but right now I think the 5100s are going to meet up with the good old friends of the IS-3. And then I do think that they're going to hashtag roll out together. And that's when fireworks happen, man.
Cazadores, for the first time in the game, all their Tier 8 tanks are together. So too, or mostly so too, are the Refuse to Die tanks. They're grouped.
Oh, they might actually be able to fight Hired Gun, because once more, he got lit already. I think by the IS-3s, oh my god, so much stuff is going to happen right now. Fatigati is going to get tracked immediately.
Oh, and getting bumped by Kufo, so messing him up a little bit. Kufo with imperfect positioning. Fatigati dropping all the way to 273 hit points. It's going to make him very hard to get involved in the fight. At the same time, No Pizzana immediately moving towards that flag. He wants to continue to pressure in whatever way that he can.
Two IS-3s against one IS-3, Ben. There's a KV-5 in the back as well, though. I'm curious to see what Logos and Cez are going to do, but I feel that Cazadores, their attack so far is a little bit scrambled all over the place.
Failing to return good fire, but finally Hired Gun is taking some big damage. He drops to 600 hit points. Fatigati and Cez goes oh so low. Cez down to just 9 hit points, and he will go down. No Pizzana, we can see on the mini-map, is pressuring and threatening to start that flag cap. Fatigati also falling means that the Cazadores have stalled out in a big way here. Anubis going to go back, realizing that there is a threat of flag cap, so he's going to try and deal with that. 5100s have been split apart from their IS-3 counterparts. That KV-5 leads the charge, and this is excellent KV-5 usage, by the way. Blocking very nicely. Down goes Kufo, and only Logos remains. Surgical play, absolutely surgical play from Refuse to Die. Cazadores trying to reposition on the back of that great scout play, but unfortunately just was not able to bring it together.
I just felt that their attack wasn't really well timed out. I felt it was kind of like one by one instead of everything at once. First it was Fatigati, which was a little bit too far to the right. That's why he got a couple of shots. Then unfortunately for him, he got tracked, which spinned his tank a little bit. So he absorbed even more fire. And then I felt that Cez was way ahead of the party, where Logos wasn't able to get some shots off yet, and he didn't have backup either from his 5100s. And I felt they lost the fight before it even started.
Yeah, exactly right. It was over well before it started, simply because of where they decided to attack from. If you saw the Cunninghams were in the southwest, right? And so in the southwest position, they're looking north. And where did Cazadores attack?
From the north?
There you go. Now, why would you attack directly into where someone is looking? It's not going to work. That's
a very fair assessment, of course. When you're on the move, less accurate, you're attacking into your opponent's fire. Setting yourself up to take a little bit of a beating, and that's exactly what happened. We also noticed a little bit of sloppiness. Kufo and Logos getting tangled up on each other. That AMX 5100 taking a little bit too much damage before he was ever able really to get into the fight, and that did set the tone for the entire battle that was to follow. So Refuse to Die taking battle number 1 of this 5th match or evening. Goes up 1-0. Here we go with the Cazadores taking the north spawn on mines. They are going to immediately take control of that southern island. Refuse to Die going to take a more traditional approach, just moving their entire squad right into the middle of the map, wanting to get that hill control as soon as possible.
Very different tanks, Ben, on both sides. As we can take a look, we see 2 T-32s for the Cazadores, 1390s as well, and a T-71 against a 110 for Refuse to Die, and a couple of AMX 5100s and 1 IS-3. So I believe that neither team actually has a tank on their team that the other team has as well.
T-57 is the real head scratcher here. That's an artillery for the Cazadores, tier 2 artillery. Going to try to plink away, rain down, and just deal that hatch damage. Look at this push from Refuse to Die. They're not going to take the hill. They're just going to take the battle right to Cazadores. They have prepared to play against this strat, and they have said, hey, If we just come right through the middle, what the heck are you going to do about it? The 110, the Chinese version of the IS-3 with all that big alpha damage unloading on Jonah too, and he's going to go right down. Cess is now caught out of position as well. And what are those AMX 1390s going to do from way back there on that island? They do pick up 1 kill.
2 for 1 basically, and the MX 5100 took a little bit of damage as well, including the IS-3, but the 1390 from the AVE is taking a lot of damage, and I believe it actually got picked up already as well. Wow, that went really fast.
Now on the other side of the map, we do see some heroics, a couple of lights pushing for the cap. The question is very quickly going to become who will win this race, as capture will be initiated for the Cazadores at T57. Is going to try to buy himself some time. Nobody's even stopping to shoot at him, which could be a mistake. He's going to have an opportunity to reset if he can land a shot.
What is coming back from
A bag of
Refuse
kittens
today?
is RTB. He is on the way back.
Oh,
He's
5100.
about 5 seconds out, he will be here, and he's going to stop the cap. No problems.
He's
But
going
what if
to-
Kufo kills him?
Well, then Kufo kills him, and, well, then there are problems.
There's a bag of kittens. He's going to try to get on top of that T1. Kufo's already come off the flag, and that is enough to seal the deal. Cazadores is going to drop mines, man. Refuse to die, taking the fight right to these Latin American players. That T71 trying to make something happen, but clearly outgunned in this situation. Refuse to die makes short work of mines and immediately goes up 2-0. What an impressive push that was.
Refuse to Die going back to their roots, man. We said it in the game before as well. They too are a team that loves to be aggressive, that loves to just make stuff happen. Perhaps not eat as much as Cazadores, but in general they are also a team just straight in your face, man, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
They saw the lineups probably, and Randall, tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that a Refuse to Die saw the lineup the Cazadores brought with that really piddly little RD piece. If you bring that RD piece, that's 2 tier points. You're not bringing a tier 1, so you have to down tier someone, and so they bring a T71. When they bring a T71, that's how many, and just look at the way they lined up with heavies.
Yeah.
Let's get there. Cazadores did not have a heavy team, but Refuse to Die brought all heavy tanks. So that amount of health versus a very, very tiny amount of health for Cazadores, you just run right into them. You're just going to win in the brawl.
Yeah, that was straight up counterplay. Also worth pointing out, this is not a strat that Cazadores has never shown before. We saw it in the qualifiers. We saw it in their first match, and they bring it out for a 3rd time. It worked for them in the quals. Completely surprised EC in a great upset victory. But I think teams are starting to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that little arty is worth it. It's not worth its 2 tier points. It's not going to do any damage. Did he do any damage in that match? I mean, I'm just going to look
I don't
at
think
my,
he had a chance to shoot. Man.
Well, he would have been loaded.
I think maybe he
so
killed the scout.
No, he didn't do any damage. He fired 8 times, got 5 direct hits, and actually did 0 damage. The T57 is not a viable tank. You can't shoot tier 8s and actually deal damage. You could only shoot other tier 1s, maybe a 1390, but, you know, R2D decided we're just going to bring heavies. You can't pen heavies.
It's not a Bison.
Yeah. The Bison was the only tank at tier 2 that
Bison's
could get
been
away
moved
with
up to tier 3 now. Well, maybe. What if you brought a TAC 2 instead? Maybe then you could look at a Bison.
You could bring a tier 6 light tank and then bring a slightly higher tier artillery piece, and you could bring a Bison in that case. But the thing is, the Bison isn't as potent as it used to be. So it's just all these nerfs, I would say, to the Bison have really made it so if you want to bring it, it's a little more costly than it used to be.
A lot harder to pull it off.
Don't bring a T21 though. I am very unhappy with my T21.
Sorry to hear that, Kev. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we get back, possibly the final battle of the evening. Refuse to Die up 2-0 over the Cazadores. Can they close it out? We'll find out after this. And well, that's some very critical counter damage there. If Cazadores can pick up a kill, that does lock in that 8-point tier advantage. That is good enough for that victory. Bag of Kittens going to lead the charge here in that full health T69. As
Kufo and Logos is still really in the front of things, even though the Refuse to Die is much more on the front
they're
side
just
right
going to
now.
sacrifice Anubis. He's going to run out and see if he can make the big spot. What a strange choice this is.
Yeah, he's not critted at all. He's going to turn sideways. He knows he's going to die, and he's just going to go become some nice cover as they're going to hide a T1.
Die
okay.
for you, says Anubis. Skringley going to get in position right behind him. And I guess they're just going to create a little fort right around Skringley.
This is
Not
really
bad.
interesting.
Anuba's even firing off into some bushes just to test the waters a little bit.
3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. 30 seconds left on cap. Cazadores down 0-2. They are swarming around their own flag right now. Are they going to be able to turn this one around, Ben?
This is all a trap, man. Refuse to Die set up to intercept the reinforcement. Logos down to just 28 hit points. If Anubis shoots him, he's going to get the kill. Anubis goes down. Skringley is going to go down as well.
Whoa, Logos.
Bizarre decision-making there from Refuse to Die, setting it up this way. I think they wanted to catch Cazadores in motion.
Oh,
but
both Logos and Kufo are so far out of position right now. Logos dies immediately, and I think Kufo is going to die here as well if Iceland wants to commit. But he doesn't want to commit right now.
We've got the Cazadores lights are initiating cap on the other side of the map. 17, 18, 19%. Somebody's going to have to go back and put a stop to that. As fighting does continue, Kufo does go down. That's a big pickup. That means in the tier battle, it is now a 7-point difference.
And Valkyrie Vewas is going to return to
6-point
base now.
difference.
He's there's a minute left on Cap, so Valkyrie's going to get back in time to stop Cap. This is an interesting back and forth for Caps and fighting.
Now, when this Cap gets shut down,
I mean, the T69 is quite low on HP, but so is the Worldwide 2 Fnatic. I do not think that either team is going to somehow draw this one out. That's just not going to happen with two teams that want to win so badly, that always go for the win. I can't see either team draw it out. I think Sess is going to have to be really careful with his T69. He's going to run into that 132.
he is really just 1 or 2 shots from death. And if he were to get rammed, then that would complicate things even further.
He's going to get back up from Farigati. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Just under as the clock continues to tick down. There's a great spot by Sess. Oh, and he's going to take a big shot as well. Dropping to 300 hit points. He is one-shot material. He could die. Whoa, something hit him and it did not do damage.
That would have been, I think, Valkyrie Vewas way back in F2 at the end of the road.
Oh, Bag of Kittens trying to get a shot off as well, and says that's not going to work. At the same time, once more, we see a couple of blue tanks going south in the middle of the city as well. They might run into this 5100.
Tense moments here. Thieve and Fatigati with virtually full health. Says one shot from death. Thieve does get a great connection there on that 1390, and a second one goes down.
Well.
Island down to 800 hit points now. Bag of Kittens taking shots.
1 minute left.
Oh, Bag of Kittens is taking a ton of damage. Bag of Kittens goes down.
This is actually enough right now for the Cazadores. They do not have to fight anymore, Ben.
Thieve taking big shots as well. Valkyrie Vewas in the 132 is going to charge on Thieve. Thieve's reloading. He can't do anything about this. Oh, I guess he had one final shot, but I'm certain that he's out of bullets now. Yep. And boom, down he goes. And what a crazy development. 2 tier 8s alive on either side means this could be a draw.
Sess is so low on HP, but I mean, the same can be said. The WZ 132, he's going to have to make something happen. He's full on HP.
Fatigati comes forward to block for his teammate, and it looks like Cazadores has finally said, okay, we've had enough.
We tried. They definitely did try. 15 seconds left on the clock. WC 132 is going to try to get at least a shot off, but Sess can't peek around the corner anymore.
6 seconds left.
There's no way.
4, and I do not think any more shots will be fired.
They still want to. You can see it. This is just against their religion. They're like, no, we are not a team that draws it out. But
clock ticks down, and it is a draw on map number 3, meaning once again, Cazadores has the pick, but now they have to win.
Yep, this is map number 4. If they don't win this one, that means that we are, well, even if they would win map number 5, the score would still be 2-1 in favor of Refuse to Die, so it makes no sense anymore.
That's exactly right. Very exciting match there on
that was fun.
I would love to see more games like that. Exciting, action-packed, ultimately ends in a draw, but
I mean, we had 2 really exciting draws today. I forgot which was the first exciting draw. Was that River of Blood against Curryhard, or was it? I think it was, right?
Exciting draws.
No, River of Blood versus Curryhard was a 3-0.
Not 4 versus Reek. There were 3 draws in that set.
And the second one was really exciting.
On Himmelsdorf, where they drove in circles around the flag for a little while. That was a great game. The Ruinberg game also proven to be a pretty exciting draw. Cazadores will have the next pick. I have to feel like we're going to Steps or Prokhorovka.
We go Airfield.
But they have shown that they like Abbey as well. And maybe it could be Airfield. Who knows? We're going to find out after this very short break. Guys, don't go anywhere. WGL returns after this. Battle number 4, you silly goose. Battle number 4, must win for the Cazadores. They're down 0-2, just drew on Ruinberg, and are in a situation where another draw would mean the end of their night.
The Cazadores are going east, while it looks like Refuse to Die is going west, or at least west side of the tracks for now. Taking a look at the tanks real quick before the action kicks in, and that's very quick on this map in general. We see a couple of 1390s for Cazadores, while Refuse to Die went for the T69s, and then both teams finished up their squads with 2 WZ-132s. So perhaps we are going to see a little bit of ramming. Rando, if you really had to pick the 1390 or the T69?
I would pick a 1390 myself, but a T69 is a great counter to a 1390, especially if you get a nice hull down position, maybe middle of the map here where we have this big hill. T69 just lives on that hill and destroys 1390s from there.
Great strength to those American tanks, the excellent gun depression. Although I think the T69 suffers from not having the same kind of gun depression.
I think it has 1 degree less than the T32. I think it's -9 for the T69 and then -10 for the T32. I could be wrong, but that's what memory's telling me.
Certainly they have better gun depression than those 1390s, which really struggle on the hills, at least in my experience.
Yeah, when French tanks first came out, they didn't really have a problem with gun depression, but it proved to be imbalanced, so the devs rebalanced most French tanks to give them some really poor gun depression, and that's a huge weakness of most French tanks, that they can't depress, and actually that they can't get their guns quite as high as some other tanks.
What I love about the Cazadores is that they are always moving, Ben, even when they are expecting to see enemies. If they don't see enemies within a certain period of time, and in this case it was around barely 30 to 45 seconds, they're like, all right, then we're moving forward again until we do find something. We can see them now all the way up to K1 basically, and they're getting very, very close to the flag of Refuse to Die. Refuse to Die is still sort of in a village and on the west side of the train tracks.
Cazadores says we didn't see him, so they must not be there, as they will continue to push down and fan out and try to do some scouting. There's a spot on Kufo, and what Kufo is doing right now is he's rolling out there to say, do I get spotted? Does my sixth sense light up?
Yep, and he does get that sixth sense. He knows that there's someone out there, and if he keeps going and doing this a few times and doesn't take any damage, he's going to verify, one, that it's a T1 looking at him, because he's not going to take fire. And the enemies would be shooting at him if they were passive spotting and he was exposing himself that much. But if it's a T1 that's going to keep spotting him, he's going to know that there's a T1, and eventually he'll figure out roughly where a T1 should be to be spotting him like this.
Actually, they picked exactly on the minimap where they are. They said like around F5, F6 is where I think they are, and that is what someone of the Cazadores said. And well, they are spot on, man. They couldn't have been any more right. There are like 4 tanks over there.
Ooh, actually, there are some shots going out. They're actually blind firing.
Yeah, CES-28 is just firing in F6, hoping to hit something.
He's not going to. He's about 50 meters off the nearest target.
They just lighted up Valkyrie for us.
And unfortunately for Cazadores, I don't believe they're going to be able to get any hits on him.
He's on the other side of the tracks.
Behind that cover, but they now know pretty succinctly where their opponents are.
Yeah, at this point it should be pretty clear. If you don't see anything on the west side, usually a team is entirely on the east. Trying to split your forces like that usually doesn't work out.
More shots going down, but still no damage being taken anywhere.
CES is just firing around. Kufo is still very active in his WZ-132. Just cruising around, trying to see if he's going to find something, or if they find him, as long as he stays alive. Lots of waiting right now, lots of posturing. Both teams not wanting to act too soon. And why would Refuse to Die push the issue here? They know that they can wait this out.
Well, we perhaps get a little bit of T1 Cunningham action on the top side of the map soon, right?
Right, that could happen. We've got Commandant sitting right across from this flag, so he can spot for attempted cap pushes. And at the same time, on the blue side, we've got a T1 making that same kind of movement. Jonah, what are you doing, Jonah? There's Island.
Island is over there. He's the closest to his enemy T1. He's just chilling out, trying to see if he can see anything at all. I don't think he's been lit, and I don't think he's lit anyone. So it's they're just outside of each other's range, I think.
Looks like Jonah might be a sacrifice. He's going to be pushed across the center of the map. Kufo says, "Okay, Jonah, go find him." Jonah's like, "Okay, boss.
I got your back, Jonah." Kufo is going to try to pick up this ramp once more.
Unfortunately, his back's not the problem. It's his front that's going to be exposed, and in that little T1 Cunningham.
I think they are misreading it a little bit. Saw a couple of signals going down around E2, E3, but that point of the map is absolutely clear. Cazadores has nothing to worry about over there.
Yeah, we haven't seen any movement out of Refuse to Die. They're just going to sit in the middle, wait for Cazadores to get a little restless and start pushing up more and more, and then they're just going to pop out with all 3 of those T69s, and they're just going to nuke somebody.
Yep, this is a situation where Refuse to Die, there is no reason at all for them to do anything silly. The onus is completely on the Cazadores. They're down 0-2. This is battle number 4. If they lose here, it's over. If they draw here, it's over. Their only option is to win. They've got to figure out a way to make something happen here in the next 4 minutes.
And make something happen they need to, because there isn't much they can. They have to attack through the south or through the north all at once, and they have to make a distraction for the tanks in mid in order to do that. So it's a very difficult situation for them.
Faragari actually did let up that T1 from Refuse to Die, but I believe it went to the other side of the track, so it is safe for now. I think for a split second he did have a shot on him. Yeah. But Ben, I like what you pointed out. This is map number 4. It's there's almost no way that this is ever going to be a draw, because if this is a draw, then Refuse to Die wins the series. Game 5 is not going to matter, because they won't be able to overcome a 2-0 deficit anymore, as that would already be Game 5. So Cazadores is going to have to make something happen. 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, Ben. And then Refuse to Die knows this. We know that the Refuse to Die is a team that loves to be aggressive as well. But this is one of the situations where it's basically like in football or in basketball. You know, if you're ahead 15 points, you don't have to attack. All you have to make sure is that you don't give away too much anymore.
Hang on to the ball, run down that clock, and that's exactly what's happening. With Cazadores realizing the situation, they're going to continue to scout around. They want so badly to find out where their opponents are and make some kind of a move, but they also realize the absolute peril of any action they decide to take. A single tier 8 dying jeopardizes this entire match.
Certainly with neither of the scouts dying so far. I mean, Cazadores has been active, but they perhaps just took the wrong side of the map up to this point, so they weren't really able to make something happen. But it's not necessarily the wrong side. They still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. The hardest thing is, Randall, where do you cross the tracks? Because if Refuse to Die is just going to refuse to move from that side of the map, how are you going to go at it if you're Cazadores?
You have to make some kind of distraction. You have to pull the attention of Refuse to Die away, and that can be very difficult, especially when a team isn't going to pay as much attention to like a T1 running up to the other side of the train. And at the same time, Refuse to Die is exposing themselves a little bit. World War II Fnatic here is slightly exposed. If he were to be spotted, he could take fire, take damage, which could scare Refuse to Die just enough to the point where they could maybe make a better approach. Jumping on Quasar right now, because he is over in, that is Juliet 7. He's sitting in this bush, and he actually doesn't have any immediate support. The T69s would have to take a second or two to roll up, and if Kufo were to just run right in here and proxy spot him, they could kill him, and then if the rest of Cazadores was ready to support, maybe they could get a little bit of damage on the T69s, but they should have been doing this a few minutes ago, because now it's a minute 24. They don't have enough time for any complex maneuvers, anything like that. So I'd call it as over right now for Cazadores.
I think this is going to be take a chance, roll a dice, man, and just go with all 5. And they're going to have to do it real soon. 70 seconds remaining on the clock. They're going to have to pick off either a tier 8 or 2 of them. I don't know, somehow, some way, man, they're going to have to make something happen. They have 1 minute to go. Otherwise, they will go down and will lose their second game of the season as well.
50 seconds left, Kev. Not a whole lot of time. We see a lot of movement out of a couple Cazadores players, but nobody willing to commit. And if they're going to make anything happen, their whole team has to mobilize. Finally, there's that spot on World War II Fnatic that we were talking about.
It's not enough. They're going to have to go for it. Okay, they do land 1 or 2 shots over here, but I mean, he can just sit on the other side of the hill.
A couple shots will make no difference. There has to be actual action, and the Cazadores just aren't moving. I don't think there's going to be time.
No, 25 seconds remaining.
It's
not even
very,
enough time
very
to cross
slim.
the field.
Yeah. Wow.
And it looks like this is the way that Cazadores is going to choose to spend their final seconds. 13 seconds left, and there's just nothing that they're going to be able to do. Refuse to Die came out strong in the first 2 battles and established themselves as the more aggressive and the more reactive team. After setting up that 2-0 advantage, they more or less guaranteed certain victory on the next 2 draws. Excellent play out of Refuse to Die. Unfortunate for the Cazadores that they were not able to make something happen there on Prohorovka. That's hard, man.
Prokhorovna.
That's not right either.
No?
There's no N in there.
Prokhorovna.
No. Prohorovka.
Prokhorovka.
Maybe.
And none of us are getting it
We
right.
just need to get a Russian in the house.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down
Where's
to.
Soviet when you need him?
It's Proc, all right? It's Proc. They weren't able to make anything happen on Proc. So Refuse to Die gets the win, their first win of the season. They're now 1-1. And I will continue to say that they've looked very impressive in the matches that I've seen from them, even in their losses. And they certainly looked convincing today.
Yeah, I mean, this is fun, man. This was the 3rd day of broadcasting, so we have a couple of teams right now which are 2-0 in the league. We got Sim going 2-0, we got Scurry Hard going 2-0, Wreck Havoc as well. Out of those teams, obviously you gotta love Simp, and as soon as Fulcrum is gonna play the second climber, you're probably gonna have to love them as well. Or are they already 2-0?
Fulcrum is also 2-0.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
You know, Simp and Fulcrum, they have both looked so convincing. Yeah. But the team that I'm watching right now, Scurry Hard. No one was talking about them coming into the league, and all of a sudden, 2 incredibly convincing wins after, you know, as we get towards the end of the first week.
Yeah, Squirrelin's always been pretty capable as a leader of teams. It's just maybe I wasn't expecting him to perform it quite as well as they did, and they're really proving to him. I'm pretty impressed, actually.
I'm really liking the Cunninghams as well. Sure, they lost their first climb of the season against EC. EC, of course, can make a very good run this season as well. It's hard to say how good they really are. We're going to have to see that in the upcoming weeks. But I like the Cunninghams, man. I can't wait to see them again, and hopefully I will be able casting them again. Because I want to cast my boy.
They looked phenomenal tonight. Certainly Silent Demise doing some great work. We're going to take one final commercial break of the evening. When we get back, we're going to give away some gold. We're going to say goodbye. And, well, then we're going to say goodbye. Welcome back to the Wargaming.net League North American World of Tanks competition. And we're about to close our 3rd broadcast of the regular season, our Saturday night. We will be back tomorrow night with more tanks, more games, and more great giveaways. But let's go ahead and wrap up what happened here today. Here is the result from tonight's broadcast. Simp 3-1 over Strike. Didn't look maybe like the Simp that we're used to, but they were still methodical, calculated, and ultimately decisive. River of Blood lost 0-3 to Scurry Hard, not winning 3-0. Wreak Havoc took out Mop 4 with a score of 2-0. Cunningham's managing to take out Simplistic in decisive fashion, and Refuse to Die off in the Cazadores there at the end. For those of you that have been betting in the chat, we're going to take a look and see. Well, we're not going to take a look and see, but I promise you we're going to be giving away some premium tanks and some gold to those of you that are betting well, so please continue. Good luck. We'll do something with that at the end of the broadcast tomorrow. Over on the social media side, we do want to give away some gold to those of you that have been talking with us. Dan is not on camera, but instead I'm going to make this decision, apparently. And the lucky winner today is going to be Steve Wilt, because Steve and me are of like mind, thinking that he thinks Artie would help stop some of the draw games. What do y'all think? I still like River Blood. Don't like the teams that just sit around.
Well, we saw the one game with Artie, and it wasn't a draw, but it wasn't a draw because of the Artie.
Or maybe it wasn't a draw because of the Artie.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because they had an Artie, they lost because they got pushed in.
Victim of the circumstance of that map, of that strategy.
Yeah.
Steve, we're going to send you 2,000 gold and 7 days of premium. Thanks for getting involved in the conversation. Beyond that, let's talk about our matches tomorrow. We've got some really exciting games, and I cannot personally wait for them. 7 players per team. That's the rules.
That's important to know as well. I mean,
it is very important.
I mean, it would be confusing if we suddenly change the rules tomorrow.
Here's tomorrow's matches. River of Blood versus Cazadores. I cannot wait for this match. These are 2 incredibly exciting teams.
Oh, Nerve vs. EC is going to be a real cool match as well.
Nerve is coming out and showing some great games. EC, of course, one of the favorites coming out of the qualifier. Turtle Police versus Pub Bear Huggers. That's just Bear Huggers, but that is another exciting game. Bear Huggers in a situation where they need a win. Turtle Police in a situation where they need a win.
Both of the teams are 0-2, right?
Still want to say Bear Huggers has the best logo. Just putting that out there. Refuse to Die versus Scurry Hard. And Fulcrum versus Simple Tankers.
Whoa.
What a great match that should be. Simple Tankers, the Simp B team, they're 2-0, and they look great. They look great this season. And they're going up against Fulcrum, everybody's favorite to win the whole league. This is Simple Tankers' chance to assert themselves. Yeah. I'm incredibly excited to see how that match plays out.
If they can pull it out, I mean, that would be so huge for the entire league. Because if Fulcrum drops one this early, that would be...
Nobody would ever predict that. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see how that plays out. Once again, guys, thank you for getting involved in the social media conversations. Twitter.com/WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA. You can watch all of our VODs at our webpage, WGLNA.com. Please come on out to the finals in Las Vegas. August 17th and 18th will be at Treasure Island. And it's going to be pretty dang sweet.
What's better than having some drinks, gambling a bit, and watching tanks, Ben? I think absolutely nothing.
This could be it. 5 seconds left to go.
Clutch is certainly excited about it.
Clutch just can't stop.
Clutch is Clutch, stop. All right, we got this.
Well, guys know it's amazing. Yes, Clutch, we know.
It's gonna be great. Please come out and join us.
And not just for us, but for esports.
Free admission to the event. All you got to do is get yourselves there. As a final thank you, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our great sponsors here, the guys pushing the WGL
NA
in North America. Logitech, Kingston, Alienware, and of course Azo monitors on sale today at Amazon.com. Go hit up Amazon.com and order your own Azo monitor today. It was a lot of fun today, boys. Roddy, always a pleasure, my friend. Randall.
Hi.
Thank you very much for guiding us through, Randall, as we're not on your knowledge yet.
It's my job.
You did
and I
great.
love doing it. Thank you.
It was fun. It was a really cool day, I think. I think we had a lot of fun, exciting games. We had 1 or 2 passive games. Of course, that is still a strategy game as well, so you are going to see some passive games. But I think we had a lot of fun games, and it's really starting to build into more and more of a story. Like, I can't wait for the next time the Cunninghams play.
I can't wait to look at some of these stats that are going to be rolling out. We'll be sharing some of those with you guys.
I mean, like, I actually think that, I mean, we're going to go to him once more, but like 3.4K in a round today. I think that was one of the biggest rounds that we've seen so far in the season.
Great round. Great round.
I mean, that's a pub round.
Like that's a Roddy round.
That's
a Roddy round in a tier 3.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
I don't even think there is 3,400 HP in a tier 3 game.
We're done. It's been fun. We'll see you next time. Peace.